And we're back to learning Photoshop in a year, day 23. Let me show you how to whiten teeth. We'll continue to use the principles that I've introduced in the previous videos and then build upon it. First up, Ctrl J to copy the original, so that we have the original as backup, and we work on a copy. You can see the teeth are a little bit yellow. I'm going to create an adjustment layer, so click on this circle down here, and what we want to use is hue saturation. It has a layer mask, this white rectangle next to it, and then this adjustment option, which is the layer itself. And we want to use the desaturation. You can see this takes out the colors, but we don't want to do that for everything. Therefore, we have to use the layer mask. In the last tutorial, I've shown you how to make that fully black using the paint bucket tool, but you can also, when it's selected, press Ctrl I. And that is the shortcut for inverting the colors. So you can make white black or black white doing that. You can also use the paint bucket tool, make sure black is the foreground color, and then left click on your canvas when the layer mask is selected to make it black. By making it black, it becomes invisible. That's what we want. And then we paint with the brush in white over the layer mask. I use a soft round brush. Let me go down with the size to around 50. I switch to the layer. And now I crank the saturation up so that we can see it well. And yet again, I am on the layer mask, this black element, and then I paint over it with a white foreground color. And by cranking up the saturation, we can actually see pretty well what we're painting here. We make this a bit smaller for the bottom row. And then I have to flip the colors. I can press X for that to have black as my foreground color. And then I go over the edges a little bit because I've overpainted the teeth. So always use X to flip for a background color. Now it should be good. We can go back to our adjustment layer, hue saturation. So we switch from layer mask to adjustment layer. And now I go down with the saturation. But not too much, that looks unnatural. The value depends a little bit on the photo that you've got. But it also makes sense to bring up the lightness a little bit. And you can see that's a huge improvement. But you don't want to overdo it, because as I've said, that looks unnatural. A second adjustment layer we can add is the color balance. So again, we click on this circle and we choose color balance. What we want to do is we want to make this bluish a little bit, but obviously we only want to do that for the teeth. Don't worry, you don't have to paint on the layer mask yet again. You can just copy the one that we've already got. To do that, let us switch to it. So that's the one for our hue and saturation adjustment layer. And then what we do is we hold Alt and then left click drag this layer on top of the color balance. It should give you this little menu here asking for, do you want to replace the layer mask? And we want to do that, so we press yes. And now we've got this layer mask copied onto the color balance. And now we can use it. As I've said, we want to make this a little bit bluish so that it becomes colder. Stay away from the other two adjustments, set it to 0 if it's not set to 0. And you can see if I drag it to the left here to yellow, this is the counter direction. I don't want to go too far up, like +9 should be enough. As always, you will find a link to the photo in the description. So if you want to try that out using the same photo, check the link. But this is a general process that I use to whiten teeth in Photoshop. I hope this video was helpful, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.